You gotta love when you start the countdown and you're just like the slowest one to show up at the party.
At least
then I
you
click this
unmuted yourself.
button. Then I click this button and I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hi, divas.
Welcome back.
Hi.
It's time for Relics of the New Republic. I am already getting sentimental because this is the 4th to last episode. Can you believe?
Isn't that wild?
It's kind of
crazy.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And instead of saying 4, 3, 2, 1, when I was prepping today, I opened my notes and the first thing that came into my head was fee, fi, fo, fum. Which I feel like is probably some unconscious bad ideas just ready to show up and wreck shop. It might even be like a giant robot. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just thinking we need to do a fairy tale one shot. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, maybe that's what's happening to my psyche. Yeah. How are we feeling? I'd love to just hear any candid thoughts, and it's okay if you don't have anything top of mind yet, but how are we feeling about this series and coming to a close soon?
it feels weird it's over.
Yeah.
It does.
It does. It definitely
Hold on,
feels
guys.
like
For whatever reason, when I said series, Siri started listening to me and interrupted my ability to hear you. So I'm very upset if you can hear me.
I love
trying to
that so
spell.
much.
Hi, Siri.
it's
I'm
fine.
back.
We're just giving heartfelt craziness. Huh? I just
I'm
heard her.
here now. I'm here now.
Good.
Hmm? Hmm?
Huh? Huh?
Saying it's crazy that it's almost over. It feels like we just got started, but at the same time, it feels like we've been at this for 3 years.
Yep.
Don't know
Yeah.
how else to describe it. Definitely
Yeah, Danny.
excited to see what happens.
Me too.
Danny's
Danny just like
showing
had like a wistful look as like a mile long out the window type of look. And
I
a
just have
side.
multiple camera angles. Danny's showing up right now, just like, let me just think about this over here.
Yeah.
It's not very-
This is why y'all need to be on Twitch. Danny this is just
You're
golden.
missing The gold that we're portraying. Dude, it's like it's sad. It's bittersweet. You know, it's sad because I've fallen in love with all these characters that we've created and that we've portrayed, and we're never gonna be able to see them ever again.
Ah!
They will only exist in your fan fiction moving forward.
They will only exist in the fan
Wow.
fiction. Forward.
What a way
Yeah.
to phrase that.
Ah. Yeah.
My fan fiction involves Jingmin being a door-to-door evangelist.
No.
Evangelist.
Oh my gosh.
Sweet future. And honestly, far less violent than I had imagined. And I'd argue that evangelists are pretty violent.
It's still gotta be pretty violent. It's just, have you heard of our Lord and Savior, the Arrowhead? And if they say
Got
no,
that.
stab with the arrow. It's just like,
Don't
well,
even fire it, just poke.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, can I interest you in? Dang it, I lost it. I had something and it just,
Oh, it's all good.
I lost it.
We're getting those wheels turning.
Going from corporate brain to I need to do improv takes a second sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Danny, you're a little bit hot on that microphone. Maybe
I
you were
am?
looking out
Okay,
the
yeah.
window wistfully, and
Yeah.
it just burned a hole in all the technology in front of you. It was so intense.
Here we
How is
go.
this now?
Give
I
us
think you're in a
like
better
a 3 take of something right now.
My name is Jingmin. I am a 12-year-old girl.
Sounds good to me.
It sounds good. Okay.
You're missing a take though. I said 3. That was only
Oh.
A 3 take. No,
I
please.
I will tell you of our Lord and Savior through the power of my arrows. That's
Nice.
her as an evangelist.
I like it. I like it.
Yes.
She's.
That's how she sounds now as well.
I'm just picturing Jingmin being like, "Yes, I'm here to collect your tithes. You may put it in my
It's so
bag."
scary.
Holding arrow, just like. Hello. Yes.
no.
Are you sure that's enough of a tithe? Yes. Oh, it's not. Oh, thank you for giving more generously. Just.
Oh, it's just too effective, but also too real and true to life. Well, in the spirit of forceful and scary evangelism, as one of our acquaintances once said, "You ready to die?"
Smash cut to the Mac.
Oh my god.
They were trying to prep someone for the afterlife, but they accidentally sounded like they were about to murder somebody, and here we are. Tonight will be an exciting night for our storytelling. I think we need to open on a MOOC tonight. Gus, are you caught up? Are you familiarized with what happened 2 episodes ago? We did nothing to you in your absence, I promise.
I mean, I'm pretty caught up, but I'm sure the listeners would appreciate a recap.
Last time on Relics of the New Republic, Jingmin and Fumi made it to the vault room deep beneath the earth, beneath the Air Temple Island. They got past a sleeping Tenzin by turning him into a very unconscious Tenzin through a rubber-tipped arrow. I hope it was rubber-tipped at least, Danny. Please confirm or deny. Okay.
Yeah.
With Shadow and Paw's help, you were able to get through the trapdoor beneath his desk, and you got all the way down to this vault space. But you encountered some old-looking and questionable electronics, and trying random combinations on them activated and deactivated various security measures, including, most importantly, automatons. And so 2 mecha started moving towards you, released from their various spaces by these large sliding steel doors. What cover you did have from Shadow Paw's ability to manipulate light and shadow has given way, especially now that the mysterious, poisonous-looking fog that was dispersed into the room has also been lifted and sent to the upper areas of the vault. As for Lynn Encloth, played by Will Jinkies, I thought we had a fun time last time, Will.
We had a great time. We had our first line in the series.
Our first line? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I see. I thought you meant the first time your character said anything.
You had to fully tell me no, and I support you saying no to me. That was the correct call.
We did explore very briefly poop bending and then decided against it in the sewers of Republic City.
I'm really grateful we decided against it. For our,
Yeah.
brand image, you know?
Yeah, well, that's encouraging to me. Sometimes it helps to have people circle back and be like, I'm glad that you told me no. You know, we both agree now with that decision. That's a good thing.
Okay. But like, it would be possible.
But it would.
I
We
think
just
if we all
decided
agree it
against it.
would be possible,
It
it'd
would
be
be
very
possible.
funny. Just
We just decided to leave it in the fanfic realm.
right, not that moment.
Yeah. That's right. That's absolutely right. But what did happen down there in the sewers as Lynn was escaping the eyes of the Red Lotus and their pursuit after she successfully persuaded her parents to shut down their operation? Well, success through drugs and persuasion. Lynn followed Benny's lead and
Like a
some
big
assistance
dummy.
with hiding from them. Went through the sewers and was occupied by a conversation which bought time for the rest of the street rats to appear, apparently about to capture Lynn when she made her escape and lifted herself on a pillar to the surface. Just catching a glimpse of what might have been, you're sure in your gut, Lynn, the Rat Queen.
Ugh.
Hey, you can't meet everybody and have tea, right? So
It's true. It's true.
especially when they're trying to abduct you or whatever.
Right. That's the important part.
Yeah. So Lynn is now safely back at the base. Lynn has the least of the worries in this group right now. And I think Will's happy with that.
Yeah.
So speaking of Are You Ready to Die, let's open the camera on Amuk Sur. Amuk, you remember what happened to you last.
Yes, unfortunately.
Alarms are
Moose
blaring.
did not go off well.
Yes, the element of surprise, the element of stealth now compromised. Amuk had just pulled the gasoline out of all the cars in the cul-de-sac that runs the front of President Moon's mansion. You threw a lit smoke bomb into that pool of gasoline. The sparks caught, causing an explosion to rattle the air. But the arc of your throw and that lit, sparkling object gave away your location at the edge of the compound where you're hiding by the walls that you descended and climbed down from the rooftops. There's also some foliage around you, some ground cover in the gardens that encircle the whole property. But footfall is closing in quickly. Alarms are now raised and blaring. What do you do?
How? I remember we established it was late at night, right?
I believe you wanted it to be so that you could have
Yeah.
some sneakies.
Some extra sneakies. Mook is going to try to make some fog cover
Ooh.
to then try to climb up to the roof. So we'll start there.
Yeah, what was the name of that spirit that Cora cosplayed as? Like moving fog all
Painted
over.
lady.
The painted lady. This is so
Painted
cool.
lady.
A painted lady this, Amuk. Okay, so you want to make
Painted
fog
lady.
cover.
Yeah.
And the goal is just to hide in place, to make a way of escape, to a particular location.
Make a way of escape back towards the room where I need to get into.
Okay. So in other
Yeah.
words, climbing back up the building,
Yeah.
try to enter through the windows that run the ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. So this fog is a cover for you to ascend the building. Yeah. I mean, between push your luck and rely on skills and training for this, I think with the amount of eyes and people, it's going to be a push your luck.
But I mean,
But Steve,
I have
I'm
experience.
super sneaky. It's super
I'm
foggy now.
All right, PTL. Let's start it off with the PTL. So strong.
Let's start big.
PTL.
PTL. PTL. Oh,
Oh,
okay. PTLs are done with. I will never have this memorized, apparently.
Passion.
Passion.
Ooh. Passion.
Ooh. That is
Passion.
a 10. 6 and a 2 on the dice.
Okay.
+2 passion that I have.
He's too passionate.
I'm so passionate.
Yes. I am excited for that.
As quiet as
let's
Mook
see.
is, he's quiet with passion.
Well, on a push your luck 10 plus, let's see how your boldness pays off. But you need a cost and a lucky opportunity. Oof. Yeah, Gus, narrate for us the fog execution and the movement. And I'll stew on some of these costs and perks.
I think as soon as Mook realizes that the lit smoke bomb has made that arc, he will do the old, starting from a crouched position, going down, and to like bring the air and the water in the air around him for more fog, and do a casual, super jump up up of the side of the building and climb his way up using the fog cover. Maybe throw some ice shards to the opposite end, just to do some good old clatter noise.
Ooh, okay.
To be like, it's over there. And then as Amuk gets to the top of the roof, just kind of like taking a look to see if the things will blow up the way we hoped they would.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think the opportunities here, you've done so well obscuring your location during this moment, Amuk, that you see as some of the fog begins to clear below, that a bunch of the personnel are redirected by the ice shards that you threw. And they're just shining lights throughout the garden, trying to look for you. And you can hear them, radioing people, calling even police in. And so the degree of panic and scale suggests to you that they are anticipating this is part of a large coordinated attack. So I think part of the lucky opportunity here is not just diversion, but you are becoming aware of a little bit more of how they are responding to this. And maybe you could leverage that information, that they think they're up against a small army.
Okay.
The cars do explode as hoped for. And so this probably reinforces that notion that they are under attack from more than one man. As far as a cost, what possessions do you have on your person, Amuk?
Oh, I have I have the instructions that I was given on how to deprogram President Moon. I've got my beans. I've got my sack of legumes.
You gotta have the legumes.
Yeah, I gotta have legumes. I have the certificate of ownership for the restaurant of my percentage.
Yeah.
And just the the usual supplies for skullduggery, like ropes and other smoke bombs.
Yeah.
The mask is not with me. I very purposely left that behind at the compound.
That's right. So in the scramble to cover your tracks and get up this building unseen, Amuk, you do drop a parcel into a bush. It just falls from your person as you're climbing frantically. And you know this had the instructions. And so, to the extent that you've memorized exactly what to do, if you can perform the reversal procedure on President Moon, then great. But you won't have them for reference.
Good thing I spent a lot of time reading and rereading those instructions.
You did mention that, and I appreciate that detail because that means it's probably not a push your luck. It might be a rely on your skills and training. Depends on the difficulties around you at the time. So we'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
So you are now on top of the roof again. What do you do?
Mook, using that new bit of information he has, is going to start throwing hail at strategic locations against the wall and things that would make the most noise to make it sound like coordinated attacks from smaller amount of army.
Okay. I love this, and I don't want to make this too consequential if this is just flavor. But tell me what you want to accomplish as a result of turning this up, you know?
More chaos and more, hopefully, in standard security practice, when stuff like this happens, you take your high value targets and you put them in a secluded space behind where we know she's going to be, to force that to happen more with hopefully less guards.
Okay. So you want them to follow security protocols, take President Moon to a more secure location, but also have less guards available to protect her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It makes sense to me. I think this is a rely on your skills and training, Amuk. Let's see it.
And that's passion
Focus.
or focus.
I just want you to say, and just choose the wrong one every time.
And that's
the rest of the series.
Creativity.
And that's harmony, right?
And that's definitely harmony, right? All right. So with focus and dice roll, that is a double 4. So a 9.
Okay. Very good. You do it. You do it imperfectly. Mook, you are bending these shards of hail into various parts of the compound, the building, the personnel below. You realize as you bend one of these kind of clusters of ice down and towards some of the moving personnel, that one of them looks up towards your direction. It's not entirely clear if they will actually spot you, standing at the edge of the roof of this building, this mansion, with the moon behind you or not. But you can take the risk, or you can mark a fatigue to speed up this blast of ice to hit that person and focus some of that energy on them.
I will take a fatigue and just make sure I hit them right between the eyes with like a softball-sized piece of hail.
Yeah, you mark the fatigue, and you do. And they quickly just stagger to the ground. I should check back sometime. I should listen back to this series and see if anybody ever decided to just accept the consequence.
I don't think we have.
Like, everyone's like, I'm marking the fatigue. Which makes me wonder, like, am I making these consequences like too big? But it's a fun thing to explore. Now that this has happened, Amuk, exactly as you wish, it begins to unfold. More and more guards are sent to the perimeter. More security measures are activated. The exterior kind of perimeter of the compound, you hear mechanical sounds and the grating of metal, and platforms across the edge of the garden just open, and slowly rising up from them are large mecha, and these begin to patrol the perimeter. This is President Moon's compound. It was likely defended by high-tech gadgets in the first place. She is married to one of the greatest technologists in history.
Fair.
Varric. She's also a genius herself. But also the Red Lotus has a great interest in protecting her. As far as what they're doing with President Moon, you cannot see right now. What do you do?
Knowing that threat is dealt with, Amuk is going to start working his way back towards the window where we saw President Moon to slip back in.
Okay. I'll give you this. President Moon is not in her bed quarters anymore. Which means if you wish, you could enter through this window without much risk.
Yeah.
But she is no longer here, and you do know last you saw through another vantage point that Cora and one other guard were escorting her previously and had been standing outside the door to this room.
I forgot Cora was here.
A little detail.
How could you forget? I've been waiting for this impression for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Oh, don't wait that hard, please.
Oh, Steve. Time's already passed and we can't get it back.
You're right. You're right.
I was so worried about surviving this mess up and bad roll. Forgot all about Cora. I will definitely go through the bedroom and start carefully working my way towards the panic room that Moon is definitely being put in.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how hard it is to get through this window and how interesting that is. I think you just realized, I mean, we commented on it last, like 2 episodes ago. These are reinforced. So it takes considerable work, tampering with this window to bust it open. And so, but you are able to do it. You know, you're able to get water kind of in the seal and make it swell and expand and freeze it and break this thing open. But it is a note.
Water always wins.
It does. It just
Water
wins.
always wins.
But that to say that if you have to escape through a window, it will also take effort. And so not everything will be this depressurized, right? So yeah, you're able to descend by grappling hook into this space. And where did you say you wanted to head specifically, Mook? Did you say anything else?
No, I was just saying making my way towards the panic room that Moon is being moved to.
Yes, the panic room. I like this. I like that your knowledge of security protocol is informing my picture of the fiction here. Yeah, you descend into this room, Amuk. It's dimly lit, well organized, tidy, luxuriant, and as you make your way towards the door that you know Moon had initially come in through to retire for the evening, you don't hear anyone on the other side. But before we do anything more, we will cut to some other people who are ready to die as well.
Oh my
boy.
god. Oh dear.
In this corner, weighing in at 4 fatigue, and I'm not sure how many conditions. Both Jingmin and Fumi actually have 4 fatigue.
Yep.
Yeah. We see the two of you, protected by a sphere of air held by Fumi, as the poison gas in the room is dispersed and lifted into the upper areas of the vault. Fumi, you no longer need to channel this air around you in a sphere to protect you and Shadowpaw and Jingmin. But you do have Mecha to deal with. You're about to enter an exchange. I'm curious, outside of the moves proper to an exchange, is there anything any of you wish to do?
Bumi's gonna keep the air going so that she can use it during the exchange.
Oh, cool. Okay. So there's a little readiness thing going on there.
Yep.
Nice. Jingmin?
Jingmin is looking incredibly pale and terrified. Will just, knock like 8 arrows.
That is appropriate.
She's never fought robots before, but you shoot enough arrows at anything, then I feel like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, that's true. And Jingmin, I will give you this if you want it. You had access to all sorts of gear at the compound, the base, before you left the library. So
Yeah,
if you
maybe
would like-
there's some special arrows in my back pocket,
Yeah. I'll leave it to you what you'd like a special arrow or two to be. Maybe some
Okay.
experimental tech or something.
Okay, heck yeah.
More for the fiction than mechanical, but it'd be really fun. So yeah, we see you knock an absurd amount of arrows, Jingmin, as you see these mecha moving towards you. These you would perhaps recognize, though not commonly seen. These are hummingbird mecha. So they lift into the air and you hear the whirring of steel wings batting at the air rapidly until the wings are just a blur. Let us enter an exchange. Everybody tell me, what are your approaches?
I choose evade and observe.
Since Bumi has all this air going around her already, she's gonna use it to advance an attack.
Okay. We have an evade and observe. We have an advance and attack.
I think that makes the most sense with that.
All right. And just so you guys know, with my current note system, I'm relying on you to provide any exposition because it's been a while since we've done exchanges. So I'm trusting you when you tell me the things that you do related to these moves. Let's see. We have Fumi for advance and attack. And I will say that these bots will also advance and attack, but I'm going to place Fumi first in the sequence here because I think that as they had their entrance, you really had a chance to do this, to make the first move.
Okay.
I'm going to treat these as one unit. These two mecha, they're of the same kind. And Shadowpaw will defend and maneuver first. Let's see. What is the best quick reference page in the normal handbook for defend and maneuver, Danny?
Play materials. It's like the rulebook.
Yeah. Just pulling open that PDF as well.
Yeah, so it's toward the end of the book on page something or another. It's toward the end of the book.
I believe you.
Yeah, under play materials.
Okay, perfect. Combat exchanges.
Yeesh.
All right. Yeah, so Shadowpaw. What to do with Shadowpaw? I think the first thing is that now that the gas has been dispersed, Shadowpaw does a diving roll, and she leaps out of your sphere of air, Fumi. She's going to do seize a position, and she's going to engage with one of the mecha. I'm going to say that what this looks like is after her diving roll, she just closes in on one of them and throws a bolas around one of the wings that connects back to her like a grappling hook line, and she's trying to destabilize it. Now let's go to Fumi.
All right. So these, well, I'm gonna roll first, but these mecha, they don't have people, but do they have sensors that like show them where things are
Ooh,
that are obvious?
that's a great question, especially thinking specifically about hummingbird mecha. Let's look at the traits real quick. I believe some of the modules used in mecha are pretty discernible from the outside, but I'm not sure related to your question about like sensors.
Yeah, just if I can tell like how they're able to see us basically.
Yeah,
And I rolled a 9.
nice. Let's see, mecha. So the hummingbird mecha has what's called a reflex response module.
That works.
And I'm going to say that you can see some aspect of this around where the head would be. It's at least one of the points on it that seems important for like some type of visual or scanning component for the surrounding area.
Okay. Cool. So I rolled a 9. So Fumi is going to use It's Like We're Dancing, which is one of her techniques, where I make a series of attacks on a foe, not necessarily to hit them, but to keep them focused on you, and then clear 1 fatigue and then inflict impaired.
Ooh, okay.
What she is going to do is take that bubble of air that she has around them, and just in one fluid motion, send it at the mecha right towards where its sensors are. So it makes that same sort of like funnel motion around the sensors to distract it.
Yeah. So you're like blurring kind of the vision component of this thing.
Yeah, and probably making it like just lash out at the air because it's running on like motion sensor.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, so while it is impaired, it gets 1 fewer technique. So very effective approach. Plus, you got to clear fatigue. Y'all are playing smart. This makes me happy as a GM. So cool. Yeah, you do it. Let's see. Anything else related to the roll? Nope. You just got your technique. Okay. Very good. Am I missing anything, Danny? It's just been so long. I want to make sure I'm not.
Yeah. Did you mark the fatigue for using Smash? Is that what you use? You use Smash?
No, it's
It's like
it's like we're dancing. It's one of my moves.
Oh,
that's
it's like
an
we're
advanced
dancing.
attack.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
cleared a
I'm on
fatigue.
another planet. So
Okay.
I love it. I asked Danny for backup, and he's like, "Where am I? Can you help me?"
where are we? Let's see here. All right, let's.
No, it's all good.
I'm
Awesome.
Back. I am back.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Let's move to the automata. I'm treating them as a group, So I'm going to say that this sphere of air is large enough that it's around both hummingbirds right now. So they're both functionally impaired, for the record. That said, they still will get 1 technique here. So you've reduced them from 2 to 1 for as long as they remain impaired. And I'm going to have them advance and attack. Let me look at my lovely options for how to dish this out. Ooh, what is interesting? Guys, this is like quite a list. I have like a chainsaw, an electricity cannon.
Oh my god.
You're not allowed to have all of these, but you do get to choose some that you have.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, this is, yeah. Okay. A retractable strike is what this is called. So a hidden chamber or component on one of the hummingbird mecha's arms opens to the side, and a blade is released, just fired out with force from this hidden chamber, aimed at Shadowpaw. I'm going to mark off 1 energy, which is the mecha equivalent of fatigue.
Oh.
And I'm going to inflict 3 fatigue on Shadowpaw.
Oh.
Ooh.
The blade goes into Shadowpaw's leg suddenly. She is impaired. Let's see, I could mark an additional 1 energy to pin my foe in place and prevent them from using any defend and maneuver techniques, unless they mark 2 fatigue to free themselves. Yeah, I will do that. I'll mark the additional energy. That's interesting to me, and I wanted to pin Shadowpaw down. Shadowpaw drops to 1 knee. She's still holding on to her line, trying to destabilize one of them. And Jingmin, she throws to you a device. In case I can't make it. EMPs. But they may be too powerful for the electronics here. And before you can follow up or make more sense of that, I'm going to say we have to move to you, Jingmin.
Okay. So yeah, Jingmin catches. They're like EMP grenades. They're like like.
Yep.
How many are there?
I'm just going to say there's 1.
There's just 1. All right. That's fine. Yeah. So I'm evading and observing. So I'm going to clear a fatigue. And I'm going to roll with harmony because my creativity is -1. But my harmony is 1 more than that.
For a grand total of 0.
Yes. That's all right though, because I rolled a 6 and a 4 for a 10.
Excellent.
So let's see here. Okay, so now that I have this EMP, it kind of changes things. First, Jingmin is gonna sit. At first, she was kind of like when the mecha first came out. She was like, her heart started racing, and she was like, there are these like terrifying hummingbird mecha that are emerging that that have chainsaws, I guess.
I haven't decided which apparatus to add, but I was looking at the list and I was like, this is a lot, guys. This is like chainsaw, flamethrower, electro cannon, water gun. I was like, I'm not gonna make it like a super Pokemon, but I'm gonna take some liberty.
But Jingmin uses this time to control her breathing and calm herself, and I'm going to choose to commit for my first technique, and I'm just going to shift my balance. Right now it is at +1 community,
Mhm.
I am just going to shift it towards excellence
Okay.
because I think Jingmin thinks I need to have that faith in myself
Mhm.
for this battle that's about to happen.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm gonna use bolster or hinder, in this case hinder, and just chuck the EMP at the Mecha right away.
Well, okay. I guess Dingman would be the person to throw this to if you want it done quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
Steve's like just revisiting his steps and being like, oh, I should have thrown it to Fumi. She's so careful and thoughtful about this stuff. Oh, that's awesome.
It's almost like a hot potato. As soon as the EMP entered her hands, she goes, oh, and just chucks it at the Mecha.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted, right? This is fine.
It's a great line. Shadowpaw does not manage a response. She is much occupied with the blade in her leg and the grappling hook battle that is happening between the two cables, between her and the Mega. But you throw this EMP. What is so the move is hinder. What is the mechanical benefit of hinder?
Aid or impede a nearby character, inflicting an appropriate status.
Okay.
So I want to inflict a negative status. So whichever one you think would apply here. I feel like stunned kind of makes sense.
It feels very electricity oriented rather
Yeah.
than some ongoing trapped or doom status, right? And you can't be doubly impaired, to my knowledge. It's a toggle on or off. So
Yeah.
you've already impaired them. So I agree. I'm going to mark stunned. And
All
so
stun
this
breeze
means,
is-
yeah, you're caught off guard. You can't act or respond for a few seconds until you steady yourself. I think in the context of an exchange, this really does mean that they're going to skip their next action.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, nice.
Especially because they only had one technique available after being impaired. That's the only way I can read this as having like a useful mechanical implication for exchanges. Now, Justin, please let me know if you have a different reading on this because it's been a bit in the chat. Let's see. What Jingmin, I'm curious actually, Danny, do you remember the words that Shadowpaw just said when throwing the EMP to you? I'm just curious.
I know
'Cause I
she
know this-
ended with
The battle.
it was somewhere along the lines with, "Hey, this is some EMP. In case I don't make it, it just happened. This is so bad."
Okay.
That's
okay.
about as much as I remembered too. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean,
Cool.
that's how it goes with mid-combat communication, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I snuck in a note there where I hoped to intimate the risk associated with using the EMP. And
Oh, Demon
because
definitely
there's
did
more-
not hear that.
okay, yeah, that's fine. Because there's
Oh,
more
that's
electronics than just the automatons in this room. Right? You've been messing with this electrical panel that triggers different security
gosh.
measures.
Oh, no.
The alarm's going off. So, wow. Oh, I love this. I just put a bomb in your hand essentially and you threw it. All right, so
Right away. I threw it right away.
I have to live with the consequences of my choices too as a GM.
Not even a full
you know?
second later. Not even a full second later was I holding it for.
Yeah.
it's like catch throw.
There is a massive blast as this EMP grenade lands right where you threw it, right where you targeted Jingmin. It enters the sphere of air, blurring around these automatons, and then explodes between them. For a moment, the whole vault area, this cavernous space, is lit. Just bright white blue light. A giant surge of electricity ripples through the air, both of my players, I need you to mark 1 fatigue.
Oh, no.
Everything in this room is shocked for a moment.
Oh,
I just
I
cleared
just got
that.
rid of that.
I know you guys looked in so well at being economical, clearing that fatigue. The hinder works. The worst of the damage clearly is on these automata. They sputter, and for a moment, their wings even stop working, and they both crash to the ground, still inside the sphere of Fumi's air to blur their sensors. The other unexpected piece that I'll add, after this electrical surge, those green lanterns, you notice now that they are on a track that runs the perimeter of this vault space, and they start to light up unevenly as though the power surge is powering them in some precarious way, and they start to grate and move,
No.
and the lights circle the room rapidly. Each of you, the two of you, you start to feel like strange dizziness, disorientation related to these lights. I'm curious if the best thing to do is a status. Let's see.
Oh no.
For as long as these are spinning, I will say that you also are impaired. You're slowed or off balance. That sounds like a good thing, a good fit. So, as PCs, you could mark 1 fatigue to figure out some fictionally appropriate way to get out of this situation, or you could take -2 to all physical actions for as long as you stay impaired.
Oh boy.
And I don't think that's a separate action. So regardless of exchange like moves, I think you can do something and mark that fatigue. And if it's appropriate, then we can clear the status.
Yeah. When Jingmin was playing with the controls, did we notice those move at all back then?
No. None of the combinations tried had moved the lamps.
Okay. And is there any other light besides the lamps?
Oh. No.
Darn it.
I mean, if you want to carry this fight out in the dark,
Yeah.
that's cool too.
Yeah. I think that's still a better option. So I will mark 1 fatigue to send air around just to blow them out.
You're just going to try to like air blast all the lamps?
Yeah.
That's epic. Yeah, I'm just thinking about air and trying to picture like how you just like break lamps with the air. But strong enough force of air, it'll do it.
Yeah.
Is there a role associated with this then?
Well, she's just saying that she wants to mark the fatigue.
The fatigue, yeah.
From
And so I think
impaired,
that's probably
right?
the only mechanical thing to clear it, right?
Yeah. Because I'm choosing not to mark the fatigue. I'm just going to be taking the -2 the physical actions.
Yeah, I hear you. But since you guys share the same thing fictionally in common that impairs you, if she destroys it, you will also be free
I'm fine with that.
without having marked the fatigue. So she's taking the burden
I'm
right
definitely
now.
fine with that.
If you're impaired by different things, different story, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be too heavy-handed to require an outside role for this. So yeah, you mark the fatigue, Nikki, and yeah, describe for us your efforts.
Well,
Yeah,
she's on fatigue now.
I know. But anyway, so Fumi just like sees this going, and her mind is just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. So she just concentrates all her energy on sending a huge blast around the like opposite way of where they're spinning around the room to break them.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. So as you send this blast, the lamps actually start rattling, and you hold one in place, and then the one behind it on the track crashes into it, and so on. And so bulb after bulb after bulb breaks as these all collide into each other along the track. Each time the room loses that faint green glow and becomes darker and darker and darker until there is no light in this vault at all.
Huh?
You may clear that status of impaired, both of you. That is a full exchange. Let us cut to the illustrious Lynn and Clap.
I'm having such a good day, guys. Like, you guys are like, I don't know what you guys are up to, but I'm having a great day. I meditated. Someone told me I was doing fine.
You got kidnapped by children. What are you talking about?
Hey, not successfully.
You're right.
Unsuccessfully kidnapped by children. Thank you very
You're right,
much.
you're right.
I got
I'm
out of it by changing my balance, which is not a real consequence because I don't understand that mechanic fully. So it's not a real consequence.
No one understands it fully. Don't worry, Jinkies.
That's why I said it. Listen, I wouldn't say if Justin would be like, Will, you should know what that means. Will, you've been playing it for like a year, you know? But it's a nebulous concept. We're fine.
I can accept nebulous consequences. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a really funny juxtaposition, but I still wanted to put the camera on you. Justin wrote in the chat for us, it is the most complicated, but you should know it, LOL.
Okay, I know how it works. Just for all the same page, I know how it works. But if you were like,
Come on.
Will, describe it to me on a metaphysical level and the way you can describe like magic missile in D&D.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish aspects were crunchier so that I could explain them better. But yeah.
Same.
Yeah. What do we see, Lynn? What are you up to?
Oh my god, she's bored. Oh my god, she's bored.
For the first time in how long?
So long. So long. Right? This is the first true downtime Lynn has gotten where she can just sit with her thoughts and she doesn't want to. Isn't that awful? The first time that she can, she doesn't want to.
Yeah, what does this look like? Are you doing anything in particular? Fidgeting?
Poorly meditating. Just like continuing to poorly meditate. Like sitting on the bed that has been claimed as hers in the underground bunker. And just poorly meditating. And she's fidgeting with her paint set, wherein that like she's kind of shifting the pigment around on the little palette that she has for them all. But other than that, she's sitting still.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you alone right now?
Yeah, because librarian left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we're alone.
You wheeled away. Yeah. Yeah, I think someone, after a while in your efforts to meditate, Lynn, someone knocks on the door that opens up to this kind of shared bed area. A few beds are around the area near you. You don't have quite the full luxuriant self space you might ideally want. But they do have enough respect for what you seem to be doing that they knock before they step more fully into the room. And you recognize one of the pro benders that you saw alongside Fumi some time ago. And I got to catch up with the chat notes that Nikki dug up for us from the past. Which one do we think is the best shot, Fumi, for being an earthbender?
It would be one on Dallas's team. I was guessing Rochek, but it's either Rochek or Zama.
Okay. Rochek sounds to me like a waterbender name.
I agree.
Okay.
Zama sounds like it could
Maybe
be
Zama.
fire, but I'm gonna say that it's an earthbender, and we'll just hope we are
Okay.
right. Based on whatever fiction was previously established. So yeah, this was a Zama from Dalice's team. Anything else that we have on Zama, Nikki?
Nope.
Gender?
I just,
No, nothing. I just wrote the name
I
Zama
just,
at some point.
yeah, I just wrote that they were Dalice's teammate.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I feel like making Zama a girl if I have not yet. So
Nice.
yeah.
Here at Relics
So,
of,
yeah.
the, of the New Republic, we take notes.
We do. We just take incomplete notes. But yeah, this you recognize, the like soft expression in Zama's face, and she just looks at you with a little bit of concern, maybe.
Yeah.
How are the meditations going?
Hi. They're going fine. And Lynn very carefully moves aside the paints so maybe they're not as visible.
I like that. Yeah, it takes getting used to being down here, and if you're like most of us, you've probably been through a lot recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty lucky though. It's been nothing too bad.
So this whole sitting still thing, it's working for you. I'm punching
Yeah.
rocks if you want to join.
I'll come punch rocks, yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, but yeah, I'm glad I asked.
Lynn's a little starstruck. There's like no way for me to convey this in the fiction. Without me just saying it.
Maybe just a little bit like, doe-eyed or like slow to respond in some cases.
Yeah, like, oh, this is like a celebrity.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm just over here, and Zama guides you over to an area where some of the folks train, and there's like a wide circular space with adjustable grooves in the floor, similar to maybe a modifiable airbending arena, not airbending, pro bending arena.
Ooh.
And so she dials in a few things at a panel, and then some like large boulders emerge. This is sort of like my meditation, if you will.
Yeah, I bet you gotta do a lot of this stuff, right? With pro bending and all.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like things slow down once I move fast enough. And she just starts punching the rocks.
Lynn kind of just watches for a second, like, okay, guess we're gonna punch rocks. And then goes over and starts punching the other rock.
I love the detail-oriented, gentle approach that you have to aspects of earthbending because of the paints and painting.
Mhm.
And how this feels like a contrast to maybe a slightly more brute force emphasis.
Yeah.
But yeah, after you're pounding rocks for a bit, Zama turns to you, winded, and goes, "That's better. You getting any stress out?"
Lynn's so tired. This is like the most like exercise or activity she's gotten other than running from various groups of people in a very long time. So she's very winded as she says, yeah. Yep.
Great. Like as if completely unfazed by your windedness. I don't know. Are you interested in learning anything?
Yeah. A lot of things.
I don't
actually.
want to presume. I shouldn't just ask like that.
No, but I my
Sometimes
friends are all
being
like
a
learning a lot of.
trillbender gets to your head, and Dallas, they warned me about that.
I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I mean, it's probably good to want to improve all the time, you know?
Hmm. So, what are you working on?
Tunneling might sound a little silly to say it like that.
No, that's useful.
Just be good to like get away without causing major accidents, you know?
I feel like you're a little more thoughtful and subtle than I am. Then I tend to just fight through stuff.
If it works, it works, you know?
That's right. Jinkies, we will cut, and I would love for you, if you wish, to pick out something that you may appropriately be trained in when we put the camera back on you, if Lynn decides to take the conversation in that direction.
Okay.
For now, we cut to a far more high stakes moment. After this imaginary ad break.
Oh,
Damn.
Oh dear
so
God.
good. It's brought
Don't
to you
worry, I don't-
by
Don't worry. Yeah.
Sandwiches.
Nude
For
witches
when our blood
galore.
sugar our blood sugar was low and we really needed to eat.
I'm looking
Yeah.
through any way I can clear fatigue, and there are not that many options.
Oh, I'm so sorry. By the way, I picture, like, in headcanon, I picture nude witches just like surviving all the political upheaval and instability. People want their nude witches. So that business is still booming, maybe even more so after the circus is shutting down.
Thank God.
And
Unlike
we're back.
Dumpies, Nude Witch will always be there for you.
It will.
There it is.
Gus, we move the camera to a mook. You hear nobody on the other side of this door. What do you do next?
A mook will mask up, cover his face, and start running down the hallways. Actually, before he starts running down the hallway, he will inspect the bedroom to see if there's anything of note that he should pick up. So I will assess the situation.
Yeah, I bet you will. Want to venture a guess what the appropriate status for assess the situation?
Is it focused?
It is creativity.
Dang it!
Like, at some point, somebody cursed Gus, and we need to track them down and reverse it.
It's like, I don't. It's fine. They'll never
I'm here
get
for
it.
it. I love it. I love it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that is you said creativity?
Yep.
It's a big 0 for me here with my creativity, but I rolled a 9.
Okay.
5 and
You can-
4.
Ask one question. Do you have those questions handy?
I do not, however, I do remember most of them because I have asked them a lot. So I will ask, what here benefits me? I don't think that's one of them.
I just put it in the chat for you.
What here can I use to benefit myself?
What's the greatest danger that benefits me? No. What should I be on the lookout for?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a dex check? Probably.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not always sure how to use this question well without just giving you a thing that you find. You know, like what should I be on the lookout for? You look out for this and you find it. Like, is that, but I'm going to try to use the object or whatever I imagine as a clue to some other thing to be on the lookout for. Amuk, you're combing through President Moon's belongings, and when you get to the desk, you see plans laid out I'm going to say it highlights a series of recently built deeply underground tunnels that further connect the various locations of Republic City to each other. And based on these schematics and blueprints, you can see that if all is as the paper reflects, the work is already completed. And so you now know that there are tunnels running from places you did not know before. And one of those is Air Temple Island. And it connects, apparently, to the other large system of tunnels beneath Republic City and to a point right beneath this mansion. You also find on the desk notes regarding the upcoming coronation, and you see a speech. Interestingly, the speech is not written in the same hand as most of the other notes on the desk. So you infer it's probably been written for President Moon by someone else, maybe a paid speechwriter, who knows. But the content of the speech, even at a glimpse, confirms some concerns. Clearly, Moon is apologizing for failed efforts at leadership and setting the stage for Tau Gasha and a peaceful transfer of power. So what should you be on the lookout for? A possible way of escape from this mansion that uses this underground tunnel. And anything that you can think to do with this information regarding a planned speech to abdicate.
Amuk is going to take the speech, fold it up, put it in his pocket, along with the blueprints for the tunnels, because that's always useful. And then he will sprint out of the room, face mask on, looking for the panic room. Very specifically, looking for Cora. Because where Cora is will more than likely be the panic room.
Yeah, Amuk, you step out into the hallway and you can faintly hear the alarms. They blare loudest outside in the compound, not inside here, even though there are quiet, like fading red lights that line portions of the hallway. Here and there, I mean, it's a large mansion. So here and there, you hear the distant sounds of people checking rooms, part of the security protocol, rushing to from one area to another. But it's more or less easy given all the space, all the lavish objects, statues, and things to hide behind to navigate these spaces without being caught for now. Where do you think a panic room would be?
in the backmost western wall is where I think a panic room would normally be.
I'm so curious. Why Western?
Because if you need to escape the panic room, you leave and you're instantly westward facing, which is the way you always want to go for. I don't know. I'm just making this up.
I was like hanging on every word. I was like, oh, what are we going to learn about this? You got to go westward.
Yeah, I was like, why
Gotta go
west?
westward. Yeah.
I dig it. I don't even care. All right. Yeah. You head towards this more firmly built foundational aspect of this wall on the west side of the mansion. And the hall that you're in has a door that connects to it. For the moment, it seems that you've succeeded in spreading the activity and diverting personnel, because the only one standing outside of this door is Avatar Korra. What do you do, Amuk? For now, you have not shown yourself, as far as I'm concerned. I picture you kind of moving from one place to another, scoping things out carefully.
Trying to think. So Cora's just standing outside of the door, or Cora's in the hallway?
Repeat that for me.
Is Cora standing just outside of the door or in the hallway, you said?
Yeah, so you're in a hallway that she is in, and the door is just behind her. She's folded her arms. She looks a little antsy and bored again, just kind of sighing and grunting.
I'm gonna go with a classic diversion tactic. Just gonna throw some ice balls on the other side of where she's standing in hopes to get her to walk over that way to slip in.
Ooh. The stakes are high.
Yeah, they are.
Even though I would like for this to be a push your luck, I believe it's a rely on your skills and training, Amuk.
I could also see it being a trick too, just with.
Ooh, let me look.
I mean,
at
it's
that.
Avatar Korra, right? What's really to get
Yeah.
past her?
Yeah. Let's see. When you trick an NPC, roll creativity. On a hit, they fall for it and do what you want for the moment. Act foolishly, overcommit, stumble. Could be more fun in terms of the mechanics.
I think it should be a PTL.
You do.
I do.
You are
I
a
think it should be
sucker for the
PTL.
PTLs.
Yeah, Justin's doing a good call out in our chat, which is remember, rely and push are sort of your backups when other moves don't make sense. And I probably lean into them a ton by default. So I respect that, your desire to embrace the risk. But let's call this a trick and see what happens. Roll creativity.
My worst stat. Okay, that's not awful. It's not great. It's a 7.
Okay.
That's exactly what you need.
Yep. You just get to pick one. I'll put your options in the chat for reference.
What is the greatest threat to me right now? No, I'm just kidding.
It's gonna work one of these days.
What's the
You know,
greatest
eventually
danger,
I'll get
in,
it.
through, or out?
Why do they call it an oven? When you up in the hot food, yada yada yada.
I've never heard of that one.
Me neither.
Be an off-camera conversation then.
I'll go with they overcommit. They are deceived for some time.
Yeah, Cora's like, kind of
Finally, some action.
tossing and kicking the ground ancily. And then you throw this ice ball that just rolls down another section of the hallway and into a room that hangs off of it. Cora looks up, vigilant, raises her guard. What the? She looks anxiously back at the door that she's guarding, then looks towards the sound. Who's there?
As soon as she says who's there, Amuk is gonna make the ice ball pop
Oh.
wherever it finished rolling to create more of a
Cora huffs, turns to face the door behind her, and opens a pouch at her side, bends water out of it into a quick wall of ice, just a very thin but protective panel over the door that she is guarding. And then I'm going to say, oh, she is rash. Yeah, I'm going to say she just quickly leaves her post and heads towards that ice ball explosion, disappearing into the room that hangs off of that adjacent hall.
As soon as it's clear, Amuk is gonna bolt over to the door, unbend the ice, and go in and rebend it right behind him.
Oh. I was going to say there's no roll, but to rebend the ice to look like it did, that is an art.
Oh, yes. That is a PTL if I've ever heard one.
I think so. I really do.
I guess it could technically be a trick.
It could.
Good. I'll leave that up to you.
But I think it's fun to use PTL for this because this is a high risk move.
Oh, baby. That's a 14.
What?
That's impossible.
Hello.
No wonder you try to push your luck. Passion is so strong.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I see now why PTL has been copyrighted and trademarked. Jeez.
ETL is strong with this one.
It is.
Praise the lore. Praise the lore.
You ready to die? Sorry, I'm just thinking about the evangelism comments at the top of the episode now.
I was saying lore, Lore.
I did hear that.
Okay.
On a hit, you do it. Mook, you are able to sculpt this ice back into a very accurate imitation of the barrier that you just dismantled. What should it cost to do this? One of the obvious sort of built-in consequences, I suppose, is that you'd have to try to make it flush with the door, and it's a steel door. So as you bend it back in place and get through this door that Cora was guarding, it will be slower and harder to reverse the process and do the same thing on the way out. You'll have to bend the ice through the steel door.
I did too good of a job, and now it's super frozen shut.
Yeah, you could add that as a little touch as well. Maybe that ice is just a bit extra cold.
Bit thicker.
Yeah. And as far as a lucky opportunity, I mean, you got 2 successful rolls, so I'm just kind of rooting for you right now. I think the lucky opportunity is that as you step into this room, this panic room, President Moon is not personally attended. You see an opposite door from the one you just came in. So there's another point of potential exit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if that's guarded on the opposite side by the second guard who was attending President Moon, but there's no one with her right now. And she looks up at you and stands and raises her guard. And as she does, her sleeve pulls back, and you see along her hands some type of mechanical glove. And as she reaches it towards you, a large mechanical arm from the wall behind you grabs onto your shoulder. How did you get past Cora? Is she harmed? And she squeezes a Mook Mark 1 fatigue. Your arm is feeling nearly crushed. You are dealing with a brilliant technologist who is also the president. So she's not going to have nothing up her sleeve.
That's true. That's true.
What do you say?
Amuk is just going to stare at President Moon for a moment and just say, she's not harmed, but I need to speak with you alone.
You have your audience. And we cut. Well, you think on your words, Gus.
Jesus.
I'm so curious. I feel like a good place, and I'm looking at like the last 30 minutes, I think. I'm curious before we get back to the action with the vault. Lynn, what technique are you interested in training in?
I want you to know that I actually had 2 picked out before we had like actually played out the scene.
Okay.
And you very successfully clocked that Lynn is so purposeful every time she bends. And I was like, well, damn, maybe we should do something that has a little more oomph behind it because of the person who is training us. So originally I had subtle misdirection marked or something. However, I would love to do Tremor Strike, which is a technique that I have learned, but I'd love to bump it up to like practiced or mastered if that's how that works. If not, I have another one that we can do.
Yeah. So to bump up a technique from learned to practice, you just need to use it once in an exchange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's actually a lot easier to bump that up from learned to practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I did have another one, if
Okay.
that wasn't mechanically appropriate, which would be Rock Column.
Okay. Rock column.
Let me get back to
Why?
scrolling down to that.
Why am I only able to think of rock lobster when you say that?
Because the B-52s are iconic, and Rock Lobster is a dear diva of mine.
See, I heard rock golem, not column, and I'm like, ooh, golem's cool. That'd be
This
cool.
exchange.
I'm making a small automaton
Out of rock.
out of rock, yes, taken directly from Judaism, and it's going to protect the community, so please don't worry, divas.
This technique is fantastic.
Yeah, can you read it for us, Lynn?
Pin a foe with a column of earth, inflict impaired on a single combatant. If they are already impaired, inflict trapped. If they are already trapped, inflict doomed.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
pretty
heavy.
sweet. Like the column.
God.
That's
Get this
funny.
man a rock.
Ah, you guys. Yeah, that's a super fun one. I don't see why not, right? That seems like a great fit. Lynn, what does it look like for you to ask this of Zama?
I wonder if it's an asking or if it's a showing, right? Not that something that Lynn asks to be taught, but something that is shown to Lynn instead.
Okay. Yeah, Zama's doing a few various techniques. And, you know, throws a bunch of rock shrapnel at another boulder and then does a few aerials, you know, some platform shifting. And then drops a rock column. How do you react?
Oh. Wait. Can you do that again?
That thing?
Yeah, with the column?
Sure. And with some very like, I don't know what the best word is, but like that deep horse stance, like sort of like abrupt, rough movements, typical of like classic angular airbending, drops a larger column the second time, like lifts several segments of stone, assembles them, and voila, shakes the earth as they meet it.
Lynn very carefully tries to recreate it, but does it a little too delicately. Just makes like a like a Stegosaurus back in a sense on the ground.
Okay. Oh. No, it's a little more like this. And we just see a montage of the two of you, you imitating this horse stance and these other motions and assembling your column.
Lynn's making like rock picket fences.
We're gonna make the best suburb of Republic City you have ever seen.
What is going on in their personal chat right now? Just get out of there. What are you doing, Justin? Anyway,
We're asking questions about Rock Lobster, which I think are really appropriate.
but it wasn't a rock.
He was a rock lobster.
Do we think Lynn could bend Rock Lobster, or is that a waterbender thing?
No, Lynn could definitely bend a rock lobster.
If it's made
Yeah,
entirely
it's
of rock,
in-
definitely.
It's in the name.
If that's a type
Rock.
of lobster, it just depends on the composition of the shell.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind for the next time we run an exchange. Lynn's gonna get Pat. It'll be fine.
That is something to anticipate, certainly. So yeah, we zoom out and we just see the two of you training. Lynn, please add this technique to your repertoire and mark all of your conditions.
You gain the condition foolish.
You gain the condition rock lobster.
Rock lobster.
It's like empowered but better.
Yeah. The next level up. And we cut back to Fumi and Min as they square up with these automata.
Oh, yeah.
We're about to enter another exchange.
Oh my god.
What are you choosing?
I think after what Fumi just did, she is going to evade and observe.
Okay. Yep.
I choose defend and maneuver. Because
Okay.
they're stunned, right?
They are.
Okay. Yes, I will defend and maneuver. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah. I'm going to say that Shadowpaw, I think because I had to mark impaired for Shadowpaw. Yep. I'm going to say that Shadowpaw will mark a fatigue. That's already at 5 fatigue for Shadowpaw.
Oh boy.
Oof.
Oh my god.
Pull that blade, the retractable blade, out of her leg so that she can get further away from these automata.
Yeah, get out of there.
And yeah, I mean, at 5 fatigue, I think you just see out of the corner of your eyes, she quickly grabs a cloth and just wraps it tight around that wound in her leg to slow the bleeding. Now that she has this moment afforded to her by all of your efforts to occupy and impair the automata. As far as like a move, I'm going to say the only appropriate thing to me sounds like evade and observe. Let me go there. All right. So I'll clear 1 fatigue for Shadowpaw.
Yeesh. Get better,
Get
Shadowpaw.
better. Get better.
Get well soon.
And I'm going to shift her balance through commit.
Hmm.
And the mechanical benefit of that is when you live up to it next time, you do not mark fatigue. I'm going to say that Shadowpaw's principle here at play. Ooh, what would be a fun principle for Shadowpaw, y'all?
Sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky, aka self-preservation versus like.
Well, she only would choose one principle, right?
That's true because she's an NPC. Yeah, so let's just dial that up.
Self-preservation.
Oh,
Yeah.
love self-preservation.
Some self-pres.
Self-pres. All right, next up in the sequence then, let's go to... Oh, I shouldn't have... Since I ended up choosing Evade and Observe, I shouldn't have had Shadowpaw go first. But anyways,
I was gonna
Jim-
say, the mech aren't even going, so it's not
right,
that big.
yeah,
of a
we're
deal.
skipping the mecha in this round. So yeah, Jingmin, defend and maneuver. What do you got?
Well, let's roll with focus, which is great. That's a +2 for me. Okay, that is an 8 on the dice with a +2 brings me to a 10,
Nice.
which is
Nice.
perfect because I am going to just use. I'm going to mark a fatigue, mark my 5th
Mhm.
fatigue
Okay.
to use a learned technique. This is one that I learned watching a MOOC way back towards the beginning of this series. That little alley fight with Kumadi and the twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned pinpoint aim just from watching a MOOC use it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a defend maneuver. It reads, take the time you need to line up a perfect shot. Become prepared. In the next exchange, if you advance an attack, roll with focus or passion, your choice. If you strike, you do not have to mark fatigue to choose what you inflict. So Jingmin, seeing the EMP like sort of electrify and stun these automatons, she'll drop like the 7 other arrows that she had knocked, and she'll just draw as far back as she can one, and she's trying to line up like the perfect shot. Maybe she sees like this like section towards the center of them that's kind of blocked with like a plate, but she can see some like movement in there and see like what looks to be what might be like a conjoining of some of the mechanisms in the automaton. She's saying, if I can shoot that, something great might happen. So she's trying to line that up.
Okay. So you have prepared now as a status.
Prepared.
Okay. So you can cash that in as appropriate.
Yes. And if I strike next turn, I don't have to mark fatigue to force you to inflict something or another.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Okay. So that's a good setup, a good definitive maneuver move. You draw back that arrow, Jingmin, and the camera cuts to Fumi.
Okay. Well, for evading observing, I get to clear 1 fatigue again.
Yeah. Staying alive. Staying alive.
And let's roll. Oh, and I'm rolling with Harmony, which gets me a 7.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Pick one.
yeah. Fumi is going to commit to this. She is going to just steel herself, and even though there are no people in the mecha, she doesn't care right now. She's like, "You are not going to stop me from getting Aang's staff back."
Yep.
That's awesome.
Oh, and
And-
moving towards legacy. I should have said that.
Okay, so this is commit. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Danny?
I'm on another planet. I, for some reason, thought she was at +3 legacy, and I was like, why would you do that? But she was, in fact, at -3 legacy, so this is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd love a reading, Justin, if you're available still. This shift your balance towards one of those principles. Next time you live up to that principle, do not mark fatigue. Your interpretation of that as it relates to like using a principal role, like as an alternative to another action, is that even usable in a meaningful way in an exchange? I'm just curious where your head goes with that.
I feel like it depends on how you flavor what
Mhm.
you're doing, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, in an exchange, the only time you're rolling is during the actual like
Stance
roll.
roll. Yeah.
Yeah, the stance roll. And yeah, maybe if you can like flavor it in a way that aligns with one of your principles, you know.
Yeah, Justin says absolutely you can. So yeah, if you can think of a way that you would use a principle, we can roll with that principle instead of whatever appropriate stat. Yeah, excellent. I like that Fumi would yell at the robots. It feels appropriate.
I was waiting for another frigid jerk or something harsh.
Yep.
You rust buckets.
Ooh,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
How dare. Yeah. The bots, continue to just rattle and shake. They do not take action, and you go into another exchange. What are you doing this time?
After
Advance
that, I
an
feel like
attack.
it's only appropriate for Fumi to also advance an attack.
Yes.
Very cool. I think I'm looking at the impaired for the automata. I'm trying to figure out what they would do, if anything, now that they're no longer stunned. I'm going to mark a fatigue for them. And have them, now that one of them is loosed from the grappling line that was around its wing, because Shadowpaw has sort of retreated for a moment. And they're no longer stunned after the EMP is resolved. They both get their wings whirring again, and they break out of this orb of air, Fumi. You hear them, their position changes in the dark of this cavern, and it would be very hard for you to maintain a clear sense of where to bend in the sphere of air to follow them at full speed at this point, especially without light. So I will clear their impaired status. I've marked that fatigue for them to exert themselves and get out of that. For this, the stance is going to be... Oof. I will also say advance and attack, but I will give preference to my players. Which one of you would like to go first for advance and attack?
You can go, Nikki.
Okay.
Nikki Fumi. Nikki
Yeah,
Fumi.
after that, she is ready to go. So I'm going to roll passion. So I rolled an 8. Yeah, I think she is just going. She's gonna give it her all. So I am going to strike.
Okay.
And I'm going to mark that fatigue again to just hammer them with blows.
Awesome.
And she the way this looks is that she's just gonna pull out the boomerang and like pair that with her airbending. So she'll throw the boomerang and then follow it up with a blast of wind to just keep
So
hammering
cool.
them.
Like, guys, I feel like it's just like it can't be lost out in the universe how proud Sokka would be, you know, to have the boomerang still in use like to this extent. It's so cool. Extra points for using the boomerang, Nikki. You have to essentially lean in to your ability to listen to their position, right? So the whirring of these wings is your clue. You throw the boomerang and you blast towards it. You said you marked that extra fatigue, is that right?
Yes.
And so were you already at 5? Or you
Well, I
came
had
down to
cleared
4
one.
and then back up to 5?
Yeah, came down to 4 and then back up to 5.
I love it. I just want to make sure. So yeah, that voluntary fatigue is still possible. You marked that
Yeah,
last
I just
slot
felt-
again.
That was most Fumi after that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so with strike, when you've marked fatigue, how much total do you inflict? Just wanted to make sure I get it right.
I force them to mark 2 fatigue or strike where they are weak, inflicting a condition. I think
Okay.
I'm going to mark 2 fatigue.
Okay. Yep.
Especially since she
So
can't
2
see them, so I don't
fatigue.
think she's going for their weak spot.
Yep. So you've marked 2 fatigue for them. And then you marked a fatigue to hammer with blows. So you get the both and. Right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, it's either force them to mark 2 fatigue or mark 1 fatigue instead. Oh, I see. It's initially GM choice. That's right. And so you're saying you want to make sure by marking that fatigue that it is 2 fatigue for them.
Yes.
Yeah. I've racked up at least 5 fatigue on the automata. Okay. Very nice. You hear in the dark the boomerang clang against the metal of the automata, powered by this blast of air. You even hear like some sort of sound that suggests malfunction. The whirring of gears grinding in a sort of haphazard fashion. It's not as smooth as it was when they were first coming out. Danny, what do we see from Jing Min? You've
So
got
Jing
your
Min
bow
is-
drawn in the dark.
Yes, is also trying her best. She has one of her areas of mastery is sensing.
Mm-hmm.
So she is leaning into her sense of hearing a lot to try to figure out where these things are, how they're moving. Like, I'm gonna roll first.
Mm-hmm.
I am prepared, so I might be able to. Ooh. I don't think I even need to clear prepared because I rolled an 8 on the dice, and since I used pinpoint aim, I can choose to roll with focus instead of passion. My focus is
Okay.
+2, so that
Yep.
brings it up to a 10.
Nicely done. What are your 2 choices?
So I am going to choose. So what we see from Jing Min is she's trying to follow them as best she can with her bow. And as Fumi throws that boomerang, we hear it like fly through the air and hit the automaton. It makes a spark. And Jing Min notices that spark for a split second and looses her arrow right where she sees where that spark.
Oh, okay.
The boomerang
Yeah.
makes contact with the automaton's armor. And so I'm going to choose strike first.
Yep, which lets you cash in that perk from pinpoint
Yes.
aim.
Yeah, so I'm going to force you to mark 2 fatigue.
Okay, and you don't have to mark your own fatigue this time for that.
I do not.
You donut.
I do not. I really wish I could use my other master technique, but that I need to mark fatigue to use that, so I will not. I also have to mark a fatigue to use smash, so my only other option is pressure.
Wow.
So I will use pressure. I feel like I want to lean into like them like malfunctioning and like freaking out and say they cannot defend a maneuver. They can't escape.
Okay. Okay. They cannot defend a maneuver. Is that right?
In the next exchange. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, how much fatigue have we inflicted on them so far?
At least
How strong are
7
these things?
total. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And I'll just show my hand. Like I've indicated some wear and tear, right? But there's 10 what are called energy boxes. So effectively fatigue for the hummingbird mecha. And I'm just clustering these two as a group. And so you have 3 fatigue left to mark on these things.
We're so close.
I know.
Yeah. One thing I do want to check, though, as it relates to the specifics of, damaging things. Let me just look at this for a moment and make sure that I'm doing this correctly with modules, because they have different components, right? And it's possible that you have damaged or removed one or something like that.
Ooh. If any of them had a chainsaw, let's get rid of that ASAP.
I see. If I were to mark conditions, you mark damage on modules instead, 1 for 1. Which is fine. You guys just took a fatigue-oriented approach, which would be my default as well. And so if you were to do conditions, I would check a box for one of the appropriate modules, and I would lose the ability permanently until like an out of exchange repair, essentially,
I like that.
to do that thing. And so there's a module for retaliate. There's a module for strike. There's a module for smash, for seize a position. There's a module for wings.
Okay.
And then there's a module for chainsaw. So not that I've been using the chainsaws in this case. I wanted to use the retractable blade instead. But yeah, I like how this is going. We've got a few minutes left. What to do, y'all. I think we need to give the camera back to Amuk one last time. Hey guys.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hello.
What do you say to President Moon?
For the president, this isn't a really civilized way to have a conversation.
Desperate times. And you just feel the grip close in a little more.
Just Amuk sighs very loudly and repeats President Moon's final words. Desperate times indeed. Then Amuk takes a breath, tastes pennies in his mouth, and blood bends the president.
Oh, shoot.
Oh my god.
Amuk. We have made this costly in the past. I forget exactly the cost related to how much you exert yourself to bloodbend under these
Mark a level 3 harm.
The game system, right? But something like that.
Last time I did it was the middle of the day, which is why I was like, no, I will willingly black myself out.
Yeah.
However, nighttime.
Yep. We established a moon in sight. I didn't specify a full moon. But I'm going to say, Mark 2 fatigue
Okay.
What do you do? I'll allow you some free reign here. I think there's latitude.
Make her drop me and basically just hold her in place while I start essentially villain monologuing to her.
Villa logging.
Villain
Yes,
logging.
the villa logs.
I don't know why I had such a hard time saying that.
Right. So first, the grip. She releases you. Her hand opens, and so does the robotic arm that she has set up in this panic room. You are free of it. What do you say in your villain monologue or villa log?
So Mook will start slowly walking towards her while saying, you know, desperate times is probably the right thing to say. The other thing I think you might be thinking now is just that little kernel of fear in the back of your head saying, what is this? And the other thing might be the fear that you're feeling now is whether or not this person is going to end me. And by the time I get up to President Moon, I want to put my hand on her arm on the device while she's standing still and break it.
Okay. Yeah,
And
it works.
then
Yeah.
I'll continue speaking and saying, in another life, in another time, a moment like this would have had you at my feet, done. Today, I need to hold you down because I'm actually here to help you for once. And Amuk will kick the back of President Moon's knees to get her to drop down to her knees. And then Amuk will start to what looks like putting his thumbs on her forehead.
Ah.
And start to like focus on what the tasks are that he needs to start doing for the deprogramming.
Yeah.
But
So-
just in case that doesn't work, Amuk is ready to wipe Moon's abilities to stop functioning.
So you'll have to let go of the bloodbending effort that constrains Moon to fully, follow all the instructions and get out your gear and put it on her head and things like this. You have an apparatus given to you by the library. So what do you do to make sure that she doesn't retaliate or try to break free?
So as soon as I have her there, and that's when I'll like get next to her ear and tell her, I used to serve someone who you may have remembered. And I want you to remember in this moment how useless you are because I've allowed it. And don't try to run. And then Amuk will break his hold over her and quickly run, or quickly like slap on the device on her head to keep her from moving too much.
I see. So your attempt to keep her still during this transition is psychological.
Yeah, pure fear.
Let's take our last minute here. I know we're right at time. I'd love intimidate.
Intimidate. That's focus, right?
Passion.
Dang it.
But you're great at passion, so good news.
Wow. That is great news that it's passion, because that is a 10 plus 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Makes 12. She pees her pants. She's so afraid.
That's what he chooses.
Okay. Well, on a 10 plus, you pick one that they cannot choose on this list. And in addition to that, then I choose one that remains.
Mhm.
Let me put them in the chat for you.
I'll pick they run to escape or get back up.
Okay, so they can't do that. Yeah, I think yeah, they back down but keep watch. Though there's clearly like a tension in President Moon's jaw, her eyes wary. She looks up at you, this intruder, this bloodbender of all things, and says, I don't understand. But something tells me I should just wait. And as you clasp this device onto her head, Amuk, let's just have you do one last roll tonight to remember the instructions correctly on how to reverse the mind control. Rely on your skills and training.
Bounce focus.
It is.
Hey, I got it right.
Yay.
Okay. Finally.
It's the real victory.
You should let him clear a fatigue since he guessed correctly.
Oh man, this is the most important role of the whole scene. Come on. Okay. All right. I'll take it. That's a 9.
Okay.
With focus.
Okay. So you've added your focus modifier and you're at 9.
I'm
Okay.
at 9.
Okay, you do it imperfectly. This is the most interesting imperfect thing. Amuk, you remember the instructions. They feel clear enough to you. And you try to execute them, each thing in quick succession. You use a little bit of a modified version of Cabbage Kush powder. You snap the device on her head. You power it up. You press the sequence on the machine. And you pull out a note. I'm going to say that you had scribbled. It's not the original parcel that you had with all the full instructions, but you pull out a note and say some of the things that the librarian told you to rehearse. You have to discard, not discard, but stop using it because there are more words than you could capture on that small piece of paper, but you try to remember them by heart. And we just see silently as everything starts to fade, the lips of Amuk mouthing these phrases, instructing President Moon to return to herself. And we fade to black.
What a moment to fade to black.
That's a wrap for tonight, y'all.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've got 5 fatigue marked for both of our automaton fighters.
Oh boy.
We've got Amuk pushing his limits once again, imperfectly reversing the effects of mind control on President Moon. And we've got Jinkies hanging out cozily back at home trying to meditate and then deciding to learn how to make pillars out of earth instead.
Everyone, Lynn is definitely having the best time.
Mm-hmm.
No, guys, this is really all three groups right now are really stressing. The
I don't wanna
weight of
hear it.
this situation is so equal right now.
The fact you're getting FOMO from us.
Yeah.
You're gonna come back and Lynn's gonna be like, Martina and a half in, like, wow, that's so crazy. You did what?
Just picturing Lynn having a like Luke Skywalker moment, meditating, seeing what's happening, and just like, well, I can't really do anything about it now. I'm just gonna hang out.
Yep. Awesome. Well, y'all are always a pleasure to be with. Thank you, everybody, for hanging with us. Thank you to our patrons for supporting us. We really appreciate you. Everybody, if you haven't hung out with us in Discord, if you haven't decided to be a patron, there's a link in the show notes of every episode to do all the things. You can also support us at patreon.com/Dustfire Media. We've got 3 episodes left in Relics of the New Republic, and we are excited to see what happens. We'll find out a little bit more next week.
Bye.
Bye.
If we get 5 more White Lotus patron members, we'll make a life-size pillow of Justin.
Wow.
Not to purchase. We'll just make one.
We'll just have it. We'll just have it.
We'll just have it.
Oh, can I be the one to have it? That sounds so cozy.
It'll be
gonna kill
beer-
us.
All
I
right,
didn't
those
thought
who are
of it.
hanging with
I
us
just didn't
still,
we would make it.
copy that lovely raid message, and we will raid on Twitch.
Bye, everybody.
Night we
Bye.
Bye. Oh my god, my fingers. They're not working.